Hello, I'm Pixelbush, or the Law Guy to Many, and I'm playing the Observer on the ORXL Podcast. Welcome, friends and foes, survivors and killers. Let's sit around the campfire together and talk about Dead by Daylight. Specifically, the ORXL. Well, if you come in, I'll heckle them.
Please don't.
Be heckled on an international basis.
Please
Yes.
don't. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hello, dear listeners and/or watchers. My name is Sullivan, and I'm here with.
Hi, I'm Pixelbush, better known as the Law Guy, or you can just call me Will. I'm all of those things at once.
Wow, multifaceted, multi-dimensional human being we got going
complex
character. Your character arc, this interview, it's gonna be fucking amazing.
Oh yes.
So I'm pretty sure everyone who's gonna watch this knows you, but in case they don't, you want to talk about what you do?
Hi, well, you might know me as Pixelbush. I make videos about Dead by Daylight a lot of the time. Not always, but mostly. And it mostly pertains to the lore and characters of the game, talking about, in the case of licensed characters, how well they're adapted and the source material they come from, the tropes that inspired them perhaps, and the place they have in the overall mythos of DBD with the quality, looking at how the character's written and their inspirations and all sorts. It really is it's a blast.
Cool. All right, so I had a little list of questions that I was going to ask you, but I'm a mess, so we're going to go not on this list first.
Nice. Let's go.
Let's start by just talking about, very briefly, just your YouTube journey. How did you start? I know that's probably not a brief question.
No, that's fair. There's honestly not that much to tell. I started out in August 2020. I think it was 2020. It in pandemic years, it gets.
You got a COVID channel, dude.
Yeah, but I was actually working at the time. I was working at the local hospital, helping secretaries and stuff. So I was actually working, but I was going sufficiently insane that I didn't really have many friends, and I was just well, I want to just vent about and talk as much as I can about the stories and the games and the movies that I love. So I decided to make the channel just because I thought it'd be a bit of fun, would get some weight off my chest, and it would bide me some time until I would go back to higher education and do a master's degree and try and make my way in the real world. And then it all just kind of went nuts from there. And I got monetized at the start of 2021. It's my first full year monetization, and it's all just been on the up and up since then.
Cool. What has been what's been the most surprising thing about having a channel and then it kind of growing this quickly and doing what you do?
Yeah. I think it's when I get recognized, because it doesn't happen a huge amount, happening more and more lately, I will admit. But whether that's in game or in someone else's Twitch chat or in the comments section or someone else brings it up in a video, it's people think I actually the things I say matter, that my presence is something noteworthy. This is again, I've not been doing this too long, only 18 months now. Yeah. And it's to turn up in someone's chat, it happened the other day, to turn up in someone's Twitch chat and they're like, oh god, it's Pixelbush. Yeah? Okay, and?
Ooh.
Yeah, and you're the name that I'm not going to say because I'm not going to dox you. But
okay.
It was oh yeah, well done. You've that's who I am. Congratulations, you've noticed. So what?
Are you so you're not used to this level of popularity?
Absolutely not. I'm not used to anyone noticing who I am, much less getting any sort of starstruck or anything. That's exactly the words I've heard a couple of times as starstruck. I'm I'm not a star. I'm just
You're just a guy with opinions.
I'm just a soft boy hiding behind a desk. That's my life.
No, not a soft boy beta cock. Ugh, oh no.
Classic.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, so true.
That was actually one of my questions for you. How does it feel having opinions about Dead by Daylight?
It's an absolute can of worms. It's a worms are full of landmines and death.
Oh no.
Because it's especially the area of DBD that I cover isn't talked about a huge amount, and when it is, it's usually done by a very small group of people who are very, very opinionated.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And it's so it turns out if I have something that's unpopular, oh boy, am I getting it in the neck.
Yeah.
And if I have something that's popular, suddenly it like becomes the dominant narrative, and I don't really feel comfortable with either of those.
Yeah, that was like, I was thinking about how, like, since your channel is like one of the two that talk about Dead by Daylight, like lore and characters, and do any type of in-depth analysis, like how your words can kind of shape the perception of several thousands of people throughout the community.
Like perhaps more than my channel's actual size would suggest.
Yeah.
Because I hear people talking, oh yeah, Hag's lore sucks. I'm like, I never heard anyone say that until I made a video about it.
It's weird.
No one said that. And the video did quite well, but pretty damn well. That's to my older videos.
Yeah.
And then everyone playing about how terrible Hag's lore is. I'm like, I agree, but when did you come to this conclusion?
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
It's not often, but sometimes you see that impact, and it's just like, okay, that's disconcerting and kind of weird, but I kind of like it.
Yeah. Does it feed your God complex, or do you have the opposite of that?
Honestly, calling it a God complex is kind of simple, really. But no, it's just I'm still not used to it. I don't think I'll ever get used to it.
Yeah.
The idea of people listening to what I have to say, because it's just an absurd concept, really. Just even saying about listening to things that you've got to say, it just doesn't make sense.
This is true.
But,
speaking of things that you have to say, you said quite a bit on your channel. I think the first video that I watched was the Ghostface video, and
that one did very, very well. Probably my popular video today, actually, my Ghostface video.
Really, I'm not surprised. Actually, we simp over Ghostface in this household. But like, it really did get me to like enjoy the character more, actually. Just by pointing out the relation to Scream, because I love that movie too. But about your videos, like, which one are you like the most proud of? If you had to go like, Mum, look, I made a video, and you showed her it, which one would it be?
Yes. Very authentically British of you, my guy. I'm trying to think. It's probably my artist video.
Really? Yeah.
And that feels like a cop out, because that was the one that had my interview in when I interviewed Sergio. Yeah. But I was so immensely proud of that. It felt like a big milestone for me as a creator. Being able to reach out to people and be like, okay, let's have an adult discussion about this. Bring in people who are this man who is a first-hand witness in this real life atrocity, and listen to his story, because ultimately that's what that was. It wasn't a story where I could wrap it up in 20 minutes with a couple of memes and a snazzy outro. I had to do a
clown video.
That video was a lot of fun. But no, I'm massively proud of that video. There's a few that I think, like my Cenobite guide, I'm also pretty proud of, because that was just a lot of work. But I think if I had to give one, it's my artist video, without a doubt. I really did. I love making that video. I really, really did. Yeah. It warmed me up to her as a character a lot more than I thought it would. Yeah. So I went into it with quite a disparaging attitude towards her. And then the more I learned, I softened up a little bit. I thought I saw where they were coming from. I understand parts of it. Yeah. And it makes me just wish they completed the puzzle, you know?
That video too is like one of the more like overtly political ones, just because of who Carmina is.
Yeah, it's impossible to avoid.
Yeah. How has your experience been with I can already hear you laughing.
Yeah.
How has your experience been with the Dead by Daylight community and politics?
Oh, it's been very fun. I mean,
I would imagine it's such a fun time.
Oh, absolutely. Because they say that, but the first video where I got very political and people really liked it was my Death Singer video. I talked about his exploitation under the wardens at Hellshire Penitentiary, and that video, because I treated it in quite a light-hearted way, it was quite a comedic video, and I actually made it intentionally comedic because I knew my Silent Hill video was quite serious, the one that came straight before, so I wanted to follow it up with something a bit more light-hearted. And people took to that really, really well, to the point that to this day, IRA Deathslinger is a meme on my channel, and it has been about a year now, and I wouldn't have it any other way because I love it.
I tried arguing with people in your server that like he's not a cowboy, and they were just like, no, fuck you. So there's some volatile people in there who don't want to hear the truth, but absolutely. I appreciate you for making that video.
No, that was a lot of fun, but most of the time it's been a little bit difficult. There was my nurse video, which was very controversial, talking about the eugenics in her new law and how I wasn't a big fan of it. Yeah. People were missing the point, but from that I kind of blame myself, because I feel like I was still quite new to this sort of thing. I hadn't made a serious critical video looking at big political ramifications at that point. It was my first attempt to go super serious, and I think I didn't handle it as well as I could have done.
Yeah. It's a learning curve, we all learn.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still new at it, but I was still very new at it back then. Didn't really know how to frame my criticisms properly, and people missed the point, and that's on me.
Yeah.
Trying to think other very political videos I've done. The artist video was the people who did watch it didn't do amazingly well, which is a bit disappointing. But the people who did watch it, I think, respected the political message of it, because you can't really ignore it in that video.
Yeah,
you
no,
just kind of
can't.
Yeah. It's been generally pretty good, but when it's been bad, it's been really bad.
Yeah.
I.e. the nurse video.
Yeah.
Although I think my favorite was actually the Ghostface video, because most of it wasn't political. For most of it was completely just kind of comedic, talking about horror sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But I made one joke at the expense of transphobes. I used a still image for Harry Potter with saying, "Bill, don't look at me, I'm hideous," because obviously he's a reveal mechanic.
Yeah.
I put up a little blinking message joke saying, on one hand, the joke's really funny, but on the other hand, fuck TERFs.
Yeah.
And the TERF response to that video was something else. It really was.
They came out of the woodworks.
They very much did. I actually deleted the comments at the end, but there's one that I actually pinned because it was so bad. And they were going on about how apparently I was supporting child abuse because I don't think trans people are like subhuman.
Oh, no.
So I just replied to it, "Okay, TERF," and pinned the comment.
Yeah.
And the engagement was gorgeous. A flood of people clowning on them. And I honestly think that engagement was one of the big reasons the video did so well, because the comments were just ablaze with TERFs and people rightfully dunking on TERFs. And it was that engagement I genuinely think propelled the video quite well. So
I think negativity does have a way of giving you a lot more attention, whether it's
absolutely
good or bad.
So genuinely, thank you, TERFs, for the Streisand effect in that Ghostface video, because I would have done it without you.
I'm gonna clip this, and it's just gonna be you saying "Thank you, TERFs," and I'm gonna post it on Twitter.
Yeah. I'm gonna cancel it again.
Again. What have you been canceled for in the past? Like just the nurse video, or like anything else?
There was there was one time I made a joke about the clairvoyance bug people didn't like very much, but that one cleared up fairly quickly. That was just me doing a bit of funny that wasn't very funny.
You had a gamer moment. It's okay.
Had a bit of a minor gamer moment, but that's water under the bridge now. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
You're pretty active on Twitter.
I am. Yeah,
it's
one of my many fatal flaws.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. It's a curse.
I know I should be on Twitter more, but it just scares me. So I was wondering how you deal with that. Like how do you navigate DVD Twitter?
Well, generally by not annoying too many people. Or if the people I annoy say enough dumb shit on their own that I don't have to worry about it. Like if someone's complaining about something I've said and then the next post above is, "Oh, circular healing should be base kit, insta heal, also killer main's go jump down a well," it's like, yeah, okay, I'm okay ignoring you because you clearly have some problems with thinking things and writing them down. So enough. I'll just I like to think that also a lot of the more active personalities, shall we say, have blocked me. So I'm also completely fine with that as well. It's like, you go off and just circle jerk on the corner for a bit while I talk people to actually get on with.
Yeah, it's valid.
It helps. It helps.
Cool. This is a good segue into my next question on this list I prepared here.
Yes.
What is your most spicy Dead by Daylight take that you absolutely will stand by?
Probably my takes on high tier killers.
High tier killers? What do you mean by that?
The high tier killers, i.e. Nurse and Blight. I honestly, I think Blight needs a base kit nerf, and that is because I think he's poor design. I think he's miserable, and that is a very popular opinion given how many people fucking love Blight. They will And here's the thing, it's not that I despise Blight or Blight players. I actually one of my big breaks into DBD content was through Ascension, who was the Blight main on Twitch.
I think I watched that video.
Yeah, where he was my first collab was Ascension on my Blight video, and it's just, I have lots of opinions on how on the designs of killed infinite free ability and the ability to use a power in chasing whatever they want.
Yeah.
And Blight, I think, is in practically everything wrong with how you design a high tier killer. Because, like, yes, he's got a high skill ceiling. It's absolutely true. His floor is like subterranean. Like,
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Like, it's so low, it's underground. Like, anyone with their monitor turned on and the right builds and with perks, add-ons and shit will be able to dominate the Blight, no question. It's not like Nurse, where you have to learn how Blinks work in order to do anything.
So you're saying someone like me, who literally cannot loop, and that's why I play like Ghostface, could just pick up Blight.
If you put a gamer build and some gamer add-ons, absolutely you could. Put on Compound 33, fucking Compound 21, and Ruin Undying, Pain Resonance Tinkerer, you will be absolutely fine.
I guess that makes sense.
That's what happens with map mobility. You can get a free hit as they leave a tile by rushing up to them as they leave the tile before they get to the next one. Their add-ons are a crime against God. And unlike Nurse, if you mess it up, you just set a 115 killer. You can just M1 Blight them to death if you need to while running around the map at the speed of sound.
I guess I don't mind Blight as much because I'm a console player.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think with Blight, what I would do, just make him 110. Like how Nurse has to be slower because her blinks are so good, make Blight have to like walk slower to punish you for not knowing how to use his power.
Yeah.
That and add-on nerfs to like 5 or 6 different add-ons at this point, because Adrenaline Blast method now for some reason. I think in order for Blight and for Nurse, I think she just needs a rework. Like,
really?
But the thing is, you can't really rework Nurse because so many people have learned Nurse. Nothing in the game that's like Nurse. Yeah. So what are you going to do? There's people who spend so much time learning Nurse. What are you going to do? Say, oh yeah, your killer's unhealthy. Let's just fucking get rid of it.
Let's just cuck all the Nurse players, dude.
Yeah, exactly. The best thing is she's a design disaster. She's a massive problem. And yet she's an accepted problem. She's kind of been grandfathered into DBD in a way that if she was made today, she would be reviled, and for good reason. But because she's so old, we're
all just so used to her, you know?
Yeah. I think the only fair top tier killer right now is Spirit.
That is a very hot take.
I never thought I'd say that. Yeah. But Spirit, like, the problem with Spirit is different from Fairness, is the accessibility problems, because if you've got bad hearing, you just can't play Spirit or play against her. That's a whole different issue.
Yeah.
But aside from that, Spirit is the fairest top tier, without a shadow of a doubt.
So my next question to you is, how does it feel being wrong about everything? How does it feel?
I wouldn't know.
Good opinions.
I wouldn't know, my guy.
Oh,
I wouldn't know.
Oh, your British is showing. we gotta zoom along. I want to steer this a little back towards lore, because I personally don't have enough, like, I've been playing DBD for 4 years now, but I'm still shit at the game and I can't loop. And if you watch any of my killer footage or survivor footage, you know that I'm bad. So I don't have the knowledge to be like, let's talk about game balance, because I would.
I was nodded at that. Like, yeah, absolutely, that's true. I was nodded at that. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I don't want to talk about things I'm not qualified for, and game balance is not one of them, because I sit on gens all day and try to hide from the killers. That's my spicy DBD. My spicy DBD take is that generators are fun. Looping is bad. I like sitting on gens, avoiding the killer, and leaving. That's what's fun.
I actually really respect that. I really, really do.
Really?
Yeah, I actually do respect that a lot, because ultimately, sitting on gen isn't that bad. Like,
it's relaxing.
Like you get to just vibe and just watch the action happen.
Literally,
you get to be a spectator while still winning the game. Yeah, like, it's a win-win.
My friend is really good at looping. He does all the looping. I do all the gens. It's a good system.
Like, sometimes I'll love taking chases. Like, if it's a Pinhead, I fucking love going against Pinhead.
That's so gross. How does it feel being wrong?
You see, I look against Pinhead because this is what I'll do: is if I'm playing against a Pinhead, I'll be the one who's going to solve the box all the time, because then he'll chase me. Because if I solve the box, he'll either teleport to me, meaning I get chased, or he goes to get the box from me, and then I get chased. Either way, I'm getting chased by Pinhead, and I've really enjoyed that.
Why do you like getting chased by Pinhead? He's the most miserable person to be chased by.
I really like playing as Pinhead. Really
having the chains in you is not fun. Like, it's gross.
Don't kink shame me.
That's not what I meant. It's not fun in that way either. But...
No. I genuinely. There's a few killers like that where I'll be like, yes, chase me, please. This is so much fun. Pinhead is one of them.
I really don't understand how you find that fun, though. Like, can you explain that? Can we elaborate on that?
Because the thing is it might be because I played a lot of Pinhead, like a lot of Pinhead. Yeah. Where I really like the idea of where he's going to place his portal and where I can juke to make the chain miss, or even if he hits me, to break it quickly. Okay. Like, say If I think he's going to put the portal in front of me, try and get a chain in my front, I'll juke to the right, force him to have to turn his camera quickly, or I'll get around the corner, or I'll see that, oh, this piece of terrain I can do. If I drop the pallet now, that will break the chain, meaning that I'll be able to run for a bit. Like, that to me is fun, thinking where he's going to put his portal.
You're doing so much like mental math and calculation.
Where he's going to put his portal, like doubling back at the corner so that he overshoots his portal. Things like, there's all sorts of stuff you can do. I really like that. I value that so much. It's like Nurse, if Nurse made sense and was fair.
Yeah, I guess that's valid. I mean, you can do all that. I'll just get a gen done. It's
sure. That's a good win today.
Okay, but to bring it back to lore a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had another question. Which video would you like want to redo now if you could?
Michaela, and
Really?
It's not close. My Michaela video. I don't think it's very good.
Okay.
I don't think it's very good at all. Let's just straight up, I don't think it's very good. I thought I quickly after I finished making it, actually, because I was quite disillusioned with DBD at the time, mostly because of a perk that starts with C and ends with ORXL of Healing.
Okay.
That just ruined my existence. Because, well, I'm a Twins main. Like, what do you think? This was old Circle Healing back when it was Omega Busted.
Like counter Twins that much? I don't play Twins.
You have no idea.
Okay.
Because Twins look like Oni, where Oni has to inch people to get his power.
You vaguely. I don't play a lot of
like
Oni.
yeah, Oni gets an M1 hit, gets his power, and then insta-downs people, right?
Yeah.
Twins are like that, but because Victor basically usually gets someone that's healthy, because they'll just get hit and run away. The Victor attach them. You don't have power. You start standing still. You haven't even moved. Twins are like Oni in that regard, but unlike Oni, Twins has to keep you injured.
Yeah. Because
like Oni insta-down, Twins can't. So circular healing ruins them so badly because you can't split pressure. You have to chase someone with M1 Charlotte, hit them, release Victor, down them, and hope they don't get picked up in time with a double healing speed before you get there, which is just horrible.
And that problem got improved, right? Like it's not as bad anymore because of the change.
It's still pretty bad. The nerf is, and now exponentially exists, which screws them even harder.
Yeah.
And dead hard validation, and they got nerfed as well. Like.
Okay.
It all just piled up, and that was when I started to get really disillusioned from playing DBD because circular healing pissed me off that much.
Yeah.
And I think I let that spite bleed over into the Michaela video more than it should have done. I still don't like the character, but I think my criticisms were in the wrong place.
Okay, makes sense.
I should have talked more about what she should have been and less just criticizing what she was, I think.
Yeah. You saw that she brought boons in the game, and you were like, "See the
that
rage."
Was literally, that was absolutely it. I let it get to me too much. And made me view her more harshly than she probably deserved.
Yeah,
Still don't like her, but I just dislike her less, like more than I should have done. I think
makes sense. That actually segues into my next question, which is, so like, suppose the survivors are real, like in the ORXL podcast, which I host. Which one would you want to like sit down and talk to the most? Like, which survivor would you like want to have a full-on interview conversation with?
We're talking only original, or are we including license as well?
Why don't we go original first and then license?
Okay. Original. The cheating answer here is Elodie, isn't it? Because like she kind of looks like a cheat because she's kind of in the middle of everything.
This is true, but she's pretty interesting.
Yeah, she's super interesting character. I love her to bits, but I'd love to break down what she does and why she does it. Yeah. Because that's two things. Most survivors are either one thing. They're either who they are or how they feel. Elodie is both, and that's so exciting.
Yeah.
The idea of she's an power investigator. She's the Indiana Jones of Dead by Daylight, but she's also dealing with. But she does it because of these deep set emotional regrets for ultimately what she believes that she caused, the disappearance of her parents, that obsession with finding the truth, and that vain hope they might still be alive.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear how she handles that and what she does in her day-to-day life that drives her to keep going and to keep doing this.
I heard the devs at some point said that she has like either anxiety or depression or something. Yeah. It never got like fully like. Maybe when she gets to Tome, it'll be more.
Oh, I can't wait for her to get to Tome. I really can't wait. She's one of the characters I've been looking forward.
The Elodie Tome's gonna be.
Like she's gonna come out. It's gonna be so. I'm ready for it to be impressed. Honestly, I'm really excited. It would either be her or Zarina, because Zarina's also got probably so many stories.
True. What about licensed survivors? Which one do you want to talk about?
Licensed survivors. Honestly, probably Yoichi.
Really?
The new guy, yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't know anything about him.
Well, the thing is, because he was a child in the original Ring. He was a child in the original movie. And he always had to deal with Sadako's shadow loomed over his entire memorable life.
Yeah.
Like, like, and if the sequel is canon, which it probably is, she even had a role amplifying his ESP, his psychic powers, which he has a limited amount.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to hear how his life was shaped by Sadako's influence and what he feels he should do about it. Like, whether it's his responsibility or what his aspirations are if Sadako ever stops haunting him. I'd love to hear how that shaped him and the kind of person that turned him into, because that's actually a big gap between Ring 2, where he's like 11 years old. And then now he's in his like early 30s. That's a huge time gap, and that's like he's lived his whole life like under the shadow of Sadako and with the legacy of his parents behind him. Yeah. That's such an incredibly interesting person to talk to.
Do you know where, like, how do I word this? Where is he? Wait, this is a question in my head that's like brewing. It's not fully formed yet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find more information about him, but I can't anywhere. So is he like in a book somewhere, or like is he just in the movie?
Yeah, he is a secondary character in the first movie and a more prominent character in the second one.
Okay, so he's in the second movie. Okay.
He's in both of them. Okay. Have you seen the original Ring?
Nah, I'm gonna be 100% candid right now.
No secrets here.
I have not seen most horror movies. I have not seen any Saw, Nightmare on Elm Street. Haven't seen the original Halloween. I watched Hellraiser because my friend made me. Definitely have not seen The Ring. So
basically, in The Ring, Yoichi is a little boy, and his mum is the main protagonist. She's a journalist who's looking into the deaths of these teenagers who watched the videotape in a cabin together and all died exactly a week later. And about halfway through the movie, her son Yoichi watches the tape.
Yeah.
So not only is she about to die, a few days later her son will die.
Oh no, that's so sad. And
it's hinted at that he has some level of the psychic powers that his father had, because he is told to watch the tape by the ghost of his cousin.
Okay.
Who was one of the teenagers killed by the tape.
Yeah.
And in the sequel, Sadako's influence comes over him specifically by amplifying his psychic powers, and he becomes more powerful ESP user to the point that he like force chokes a police officer.
Oh my god!
At one point.
ACAB. Period.
So true,
bestie. Oh my god.
Anyway. But he's a really interesting character because he is, despite being a relatively small character in the first movie, he is the reason so much of the story happens, because he's the emotional core, the reason why Raiko is working so hard to lift the curse, because she's looking out for his future.
So it's probably a good that's probably a good character for the devs to put in the game, just because.
Absolutely, yeah. He's got so much story worth telling.
Yeah.
And and I'd love to talk to him. I'd love to hear more about him, because here's something funny. I read in an article about this with the creative director for Dead by Daylight. Mm-hmm. He's kind of canon, like the way that Dead by Daylight has brought him forwards into his 30s is canon to The Ring.
Oh, really? So this video game made something in the movies more canon?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They created, and the license holders went, yes, that is the canon story of Yoichi Asakawa.
Cool.
That's really, really
Do you think
sick.
they did a similar thing with Cheryl, or like, is that just like
with Cheryl, it's ambiguous because Konami doesn't know shit about Silent Hill.
Okay.
that would require Konami to remember that Silent Hill exists, and that's a bold challenge for them to acknowledge that the most famous franchise exists.
Yeah.
But no, the Kadokawa, who are the media conglomerate who own the rights to The Ring, enthusiastically support Yoichi being the way that he is in DBD in the canon universe of The Ring, which is really, really brilliant. Actually, I love that.
Kind of makes. Does that mean that, like, theory time here? Where's Asimov when you need him? Does that mean that, like, DBD is canon in the Ring universe?
Quite possibly. I need to read the full interview. I haven't actually taken a full look at it, but possibly.
Because if it's canon that he does all this stuff and then he gets taken by the entity, that means the entity is canon at least the Ring. That's
fucking.
Crazy.
And there was Sadako versus Kayako from The Grudge. So is the Ring is the entity canon in the Grudge universe? Oh my lord, this is melting my brain.
The NT's creeping its way into all these horror franchises.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of horror franchises, wow, my segues today, fucking phenomenal.
Absolutely top tier, my guy.
So you talked about the survivor you'd want to interview or like talk to. What about the killers? I feel like I already know your answer to this, but like original killers from DBD, who would you want to like talk to, have a conversation with? I know my answer, but I'll let you answer first.
Yeah, if I was to say Charlotte and Victor day high, would you be surprised?
No, but also
no,
do you
I
speak
didn't
French?
think
So
upper. Yeah, a little. But the thing is, it's also changed a lot in 300 years, so it would likely require translation anyway. But the I just this is, again, Charlotte spent so long growing up without her brother.
Yeah.
And I want to hear what that's like. I want to hear how that affected her. And
so you're an orphan. How does that feel? Go.
Whether she thinks that there might be any hope, because she lost everything.
Yeah. She
hates the world and everybody in it. I want to see if she can believe things can be good again.
Yeah.
And also kind of want to hear what Victor thinks. Because the thing is that he doesn't speak. He just sort of screams. Although,
me too.
Although the add-on descriptions for the add-ons do imply that he can speak a bit, just not very well, it's not very coherently, but he clearly thinks. He lived like age of 9 or 10. He's obviously got cognitive processing. He can think as well as a 10-year-old could.
Yeah.
I'd love. This is why I'd love to see the Tome story told from his POV.
Really.
Entirely through his internal monologue, because imagine the complex emotions that you'd feel when you were literally part of someone for your entire life, completely dependent on them for everything, and suddenly you're free. Like, would you revel in your freedom? Would you feel like you're leaving them behind? Would you have resented them for your attachment?
And would you feel totally died? So how does that feel for him?
Yeah, he died and got better. No, I'd really love to hear about the exact feelings that both Charlotte and Victor would have to their separation, because. Would Charlotte feel relieved that she can live more independently? Would she feel ashamed of that relief because of her responsibility towards Victor? Would Victor relish having that independence, or would he feel daunted by the scale of the world that he's now a more independent part of? There's so much to talk about there, and it's never been touched on because their entire story takes place before the entity splits them.
True. That is a very interesting. So that tome. You could set the tome in like the entity's realm, couldn't you?
Honestly, yeah. I that's what I want to see. My feels is just the first 10 minutes, and of the two of them reunited. Yeah. Because imagine being Charlotte, and you spent probably a good 10, maybe almost 15 years without anyone in your life, resenting the whole world for taking him away from you, and he comes back, and now has more independence than he ever had before. The cocktail emotions where you'd be like, you're glad to see him back, but also glad that he's kind of free.
And then the survivors get to kick him in the face repeatedly.
There's such an incredibly complex mess of emotions that you could only really explore in a game like this. Yeah. And I want to hear that from her. And I want to hear Victor's reactions too, because they're two wonderful, wonderful little people who do their best. And I feel like they need more love.
Well, if you want to hear Victor and Charlotte speak, listen to episode 4 of the ORXL Podcast. I'm gonna keep plugging that, not suddenly. As always. On the grind set. Yeah, it was actually difficult for me to decide how much Victor would speak when I wanted to adapt him for I can imagine that. Yeah. But I think Screaming Bandit Child is the best way to go. Yeah, that scans. So now we go to the licensed killers. Well, that's actually a lot harder. Yeah, a lot of them don't really speak. So there's it's we're talking to Myers. Oh, he's just breathing, and now he stabbed me in the face. That's good enough for me. That's no. Honestly, I don't. I think purely it would be Amanda Young. Yeah, me too. Same answer. Actually, no, Ghostface. Never mind. But yeah, it would be Amanda without a doubt. Because again, if you've watched, you obviously haven't watched Saw. But I have a video on Amanda in production, and she's such a complex person. I have seen a lot of, to get her character right for the podcast, I did watch a lot of just her in Saw, but I skipped the gory bits because I'm a little piss baby and I can't handle that. So I got Amanda's story without actually watching Saw. Yeah, so. Amanda's story is so heartbreaking. Yeah. She's such a complex character, so much to her, and I feel like just there's that sense of
incredible nihilism to her, that she's given up on anything being able to fix her or anybody else. And that's such an interesting person to have a conversation with, provided there are no sharp implements around.
I don't know. I feel like she'd want to talk about her life with someone.
Absolutely. Ultimately, that's what her rant at the end of Saw 3 was. It was trying to get people to listen. And she's never had that. Well, maybe she had that in Cecil, maybe. But
yeah. Did you enjoy her? I mean, I guess this is going to come up in a video of yours soon, so don't spoil too much. But did you enjoy her new tone? That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
I have mixed feelings on it.
Yeah.
Because I think it got the general idea right, but I feel like they made her too sadistic. Like Amanda Young is not a sadist. She doesn't do what she does out of getting joy out of her still killing people. That's not why she does what she does. She does it because she believes people can't be saved.
Yeah.
What she does is almost like a duty.
Yeah.
It's very solemn, and she takes it very seriously. And her story paints her out as someone who just likes inflicting pain, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Really,
that's not what I got from it, but I don't know.
Well,
personally,
it's like the opening section, for example, when there's the rat thing, which I had a real problem with because animal torture in Saw's never been done before, and for a good reason. It's really, really distasteful. It was that sense that she was thrilled at what was happening. Her adrenaline rush. She was like, no, that's not who Amanda is. That's not what she does. True, yeah. That's Amanda is not someone who's filled with joy at the thought of hurting others. That's not she only kills those who she thinks are beyond saving. It's almost a mercy killing. Yeah. And that's something that I feel like villainizing her too much is not right. Really is not right.
Maybe DVD's like overcorrecting because all their female killers are tragic and they want one that's just not.
Well, ironically, they've already made that, and her name is the Nurse.
I mean, yes, but actually, it's complicated.
Nurse is a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, I mean, they try.
They almost under-villainize the Nurse. You know?
If you want an evil person, commit to it. Don't paint her out to be pretty good and then say she's actually a bad guy. Mwahaha. It's better if you just
without acknowledging what she's doing is bad, because that was the issue. They painted Angel of Mercy persona, and they tried to maintain that while being a eugenicist. It's those are some very fuckwards messaging there, sir. How about you don't have a
conversation with the Nurse? She would not like me.
No, she would not.
That's why I don't ship her with the Wraith. But I don't feel like
Philip deserves better.
He deserves better.
Yeah.
But I posted a TikTok where I was just hey, I don't ship these two, and the immediate response from everyone was bro, it's canon. What do you mean you don't ship them? And it's you don't have to
that's why I made the joke in my April Fool's video last year of with the Nurse and the Clara in unhappy marriage, where he's just leaving shit around the asylum.
No.
I made a joke about that in my clown video. I wish I didn't take it seriously, but I was like, yeah.
Yeah,
it made me smile. It made me smile anyway.
I think I can't see that happen.
No, nor can I. Kenneth Chase is a revolting human being.
Aren't we all? Speaking of revolting human beings, never mind. I had a segue into some kind of Ghostface joke, but I don't have it anymore.
Of course.
Something about how I'm simping over him, yada yada yada.
True.
Actually, that's a good question because you probably had a lot of experience with this, right? What are your opinions on people who simp for these characters, even the killers? Keep in mind you're talking to one, so.
Yeah. Honestly, is this bad to say I don't entirely blame you? Because the whole point is that a lot of these characters, they are made to be in some way compelling. You never make a character in any game who isn't in some way going to compel you in some fashion, whether that's compelling you to hate them. Yeah. That is in itself compelling, in itself interesting, and it doesn't really matter what it is. There will always be people who will simp over these fictional characters, but that's kind of the point. They were made to catch your eye in some way or another, and how people choose to interpret that individually is up entirely to their personal taste.
True.
As an ace guy, that's a bit of a weird situation, but notably I am not an arrow ace. So by romantic ace over here, hello. Yeah.
Hello, LGBT community. I know you're listening.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. 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 I said LGBT community quake in fear, half of you, because I know a lot of you despise me.
I'm gonna clip that out of context for Twitter too. Jesus, you're giving me a lot of ammunition here.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Okay. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I think it's the DVD community is weird. And
very horny.
That's not what I was gonna go. That's not where I was going with that statement. But I mean, you're right.
Well, it's true. It's absolutely true.
I mean, there's like a strong link between like horniness and horror, though. Like they're pretty...
absolutely like the interplay of sex and violence. It's horror is a story of taboo subjects after all, and doing the sex and Michael Myers is pretty taboo, honestly.
This is true. Michael Myers. I had a thought and I started being gay. Give me a minute.
Strong.
I don't have any good segues into this question. Nice. What's your opinion on the Observer? He's a character we haven't talked about yet, even though he's a big important dude. So I don't know how much of the community, even the people who like the lore, know a lot about the Observer. Didn't you have a video plan that you're gonna do that? Yes.
But like right now, my to-do list is like longer than a very long thing.
Bro, help me. Let me help you edit videos. I got you.
The thing takes the longest is script writing.
Really?
That's the longest part.
How long does it take to write a script?
Getting it right anyway. But my longest script I ever wrote was my Cenobrite script. It took me like Cenobrite guides. It took me a week. Mm-hmm. But script writing is, I don't know whether it feels long because I do a lot of editing, and I basically, when I'm writing a script, I'll literally do it 24/7.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, oh, I'm writing on a PC. I'm taking your shit. I'll take my phone with me and write on the loo and come back and write on my PC again.
Not the loo. Please say something more American right now.
Okay, the freedom crapper. I don't know.
That's what we call it. Yeah. Continue.
Yeah. I speak yeehaw.
Yeah. Yeehaw. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, but in any case, scripting feels like it takes a while because I always spend, when I'm actually working on it, I'll literally work on it all day.
Yeah.
But it probably doesn't actually take the longer I think it does. I think the time-consuming part is actually the last stage, which is the editing the video on top of everything else.
No, tell me about it.
Because usually I'll start with the script, record the audio for the script. While I'm doing that, I'll be recording gameplay in the evenings when I'm just playing DVD because it's fun.
DVD is fun anyway.
Sometimes I'm playing tap. I have to play tap this week because I'm making a tap video. I'm recording some tap games or something.
Yeah.
And then put those together. It can take if I'm doing a licensed video with like movie clips, that can take ages to get the clips I need.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the longest part is doing the text editing and the graphic stuff over the top of the gameplay video that I use.
Right.
It's like for my Saw, my recent video about Detective Tapp, and the one I'm doing about Amanda, I had to watch every Saw movie to get all my canon stuff right and to know what clips I needed from what movie, and it took me 22 hours.
Oh yikes!
Well, here's the fun part. I actually was traveling to and from Scotland last week at the start and end of the week, and that was 2 11-hour train journeys, 11 hours up there, 11 hours back. And I was able to marathon Saw movies on the train. It was I have my laptop with me because I was writing on my laptop while I was in Aberdeen, and I was like, right, I've got 11 hours spare. I'll just binge watch Saw movies.
Fair enough.
Yeah, there was one funny moment during Saw 3. A bunch of school children got on the bus. I was watching Saw 3, and I was like, oh dear, I'll turn my laptop away, but not so quickly that they notice that I'm doing it. Because if they notice I turn it away, they're going to ask, what are you watching? And none of the answers there are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's this thing where the naked woman is being frozen to death in a giant industrial freezer. And it's like, if you've played on the Gideon map, she's the downstairs freezer room.
Yeah.
That scene, that trap. It was like, I'm just going to turn my laptop away and hope they don't ask what I'm watching. Because if I have to say, I'm watching a naked woman freeze to death, it's like...
gonna clip that out of context too. You're giving me a lot to work with.
I know. I'm going great with this.
Okay, my point was though, you're writing in a script for the Observer. Hopefully that'll come out at some point.
Yeah, Omega Tangent Time, Pog.
How do you feel about that? Well, before we talk about like his character, like the archives themselves and like that implementation into DVD, like what are your opinions on that method of delivering lore to the community? Yada yada yada.
I would like it if it was more accessible, is that the word? Like if more people were put in a position where they didn't have to feel like go out of their way to read it.
Yeah.
Because unless it's on the wiki, people just don't read it.
I have combed through the DVD wiki so many times, it's ridiculous.
Haven't we all?
Yeah,
I'm exactly the same. But honestly, I just wish it could be integrated. Maybe I would like it if they integrated lore into the bloodwebs. So, like, say you got lower 40 lore teachables, then you would knock a bonus little lore segment for you. That would be really sweet.
That would be cool.
Or like they did for the Halloween tome. Remember when Michaela came out and they made a little Halloween tome, like a brief mini tome with short stories in it? Give them that when a new killer comes out, when a new character, when a new survivor comes out. Yep. Little personal and little mini tomes. It would entitle people to buy a new character and give us some bonus little stories as a well done.
I'm wondering how big the lore department of DVD is. Is it just people. Like one person, or?
I'm pretty sure it's like 2 people.
Okay.
And do you know why I'm saying this? Because I've noticed a pattern in the stories. And there's always one story that's written with a lot of purple prose and lots of very florid descriptions and a good understanding of the character, and one that's shit.
Oh.
So I think inside behavior there are 2 wolves.
Please stop.
one wolf can write a good story and one of them can't.
Yikes.
They are both gay.
I don't think they're both gay. Cool. Well, that's certainly a theory. A game theory.
Game theory.
Thanks for. How has there been no game theory video on Dead by Daylight? How is Matt Pat missed it completely?
Because he's afraid of me. I'm too
Moving
smart.
on. Moving right along. Anyway. Okay. So I'm assuming you're. What are you drinking? What is that?
Blackcurrant squash.
Black what now?
It's like a cordial with blackcurrants and apples in it.
Oh. Healthy. Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. So the Observer.
Yes.
I'm assuming you know a good chunk about that character. You are the lore guy. Okay.
Yes.
What are your opinions on that character? You don't have to spoil too much in case you want to save it for your video, but like, you know.
I think he's a good concept as a delivery service for the framework of the story. I'm giving us more much about the entity, but I wish his stories were more cohesive.
Yeah.
Because I get that them being cohesive is kind of the point, but I get the feeling they go too hard with it.
There's
so many non sequiturs don't go anywhere, and it's like it makes it feel pointless. Like reading the Observer logs, you could read them in any order and it wouldn't matter because they're all so disconnected.
Yeah,
and I think that ruins the idea of this one guy working really hard because it's all out of order. It's all jumbly mumbly. And nothing leads into anything else. I will say it was. I wish it felt like a journal of a character descending into madness as opposed to random non sequiturs.
I will say there's a video that I'll link in the description because I don't remember who made it, but there's a video where one guy like takes all of the Observer's like story and kind of puts it into a chronological order. Yeah. And it seems like pretty canon. Like, I mean, I know it's just like a fan put together thing, but like I'll link that video. Go check that guy's channel out. Very good video. But yeah, the Observer it's a complicated character. I just kind of want to know why he was there in the first place. Like, I wish he had more of a, like...
Yeah, give the man some direction, because a series of anecdotes does not create character.
Yeah, nah, not a cohesive one anyway. But you had to play that character.
Yes, I did.
So, how was trying to, like, what was your thought process in approaching that? Actually, before that, did you have any acting experience previously? I'm assuming not, because you seem kind of shy, but...
I've never done voice acting before. But I have acted before.
Okay.
I've done. I wasn't like a proper theatre kid, but I did some performances.
I'm glad you're not a proper theatre kid. They're terrible.
Used to do stand-up comedy for a while. That was quite fun.
Mm.
And I did some Shakespeare stuff. That was a lot of fun. But
nice.
nothing ever really nothing too serious. And certainly nothing with a significant role. So the Observer was an interesting challenge to take on.
Yeah.
But hopefully I was in my element. Literally, I was in this chair with this microphone,
Okay.
with all Audacity open. So I could do every week for the past year before I did it.
Okay.
So it was, if I was in a, if I was actually on stage or something, I'd be mortified. But in a warm chair, sitting down with a dog farting on the floor, that's my comfort zone.
I really hope your dog farts are not in this episode. I really hope there's nothing in the background of your dog.
No. It's I edited it out.
Okay, cool, good, proud of you.
Well, he farted so loudly he woke himself up.
I don't keep animals besides like my brother.
Fair.
What was I gonna say? Cool. So, hey Sydney, bye Sydney.
Hello, Sydney.
No, not that Sydney.
Ask if she likes scary movies.
What?
Ask if she likes scary movies.
Yeah.
You like scary movies?
I had a train of thought, then Sydney came in. Don't do that.
No.
I was gonna say, right, okay, so, being this character, doing the thing, the script that I wrote, but also you helped a lot with, what was your, like, vibe and stuff? Like, how did you, I don't know, opinions? You have opinions, share them, go.
I do, yeah. I thought it really fun when I was helping to write the Observer to make him this almost Blackadder, like dry, like the kind of person who's just never hasn't spoken to anybody in a while and is quite pleased about that fact. Who's just likes his own company, doesn't really think too highly of anybody else.
Yeah.
But also likes to talk about himself.
True. So is that kind of like you? Did you have to act super much, or?
Thanks, I appreciate that. But yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, a little bit. I was like, if I didn't give a shit about who I was talking to, and
fair enough.
That was kind of what that's kind of what I tried to go for, but with an element of kind of upper class snootiness, because obviously he was a scholar back on his home world. That can lead to some like ego trips. Yeah. So I wanted to have this kind of sense of being the gentleman in a room of plebeians. Yes, with the hand movements. Oh.
How prevalent is that in England? I've never been.
No, nowhere near as much as you might think.
Oh, really?
Americans over dramatize it way too much. It's like
Americans dramatic? Never.
Yeah.
Literally never.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm running out of things to say.
Do you have a list somewhere?
What?
Do you have a list somewhere written down?
I did, but we blew through the list, I think.
True.
So true. Hold up. Shimo spicy DVD thing. Try to voice acting. Okay. I don't think I actually explained this. So to anyone listening who's just here because you're here, I run a thing called the ORXL Podcast, and the most recent episode that just came out is about the Observer, and Will here plays the Observer. I probably should have said that first. I don't know why I didn't mention that until...
We can fix it in the editing, it's fine.
No, I don't edit these, so...
that's a classic blunder.
Okay, how about we get a take of you saying, hello, I'm Pixelbush, and I play the Observer, and I'll clip that and put it at the beginning, and then...
Sounds good.
Okay, go for it.
Hello, I'm Pixelbush, or the Law Guy to Many, and I'm playing the Observer on the ORXL Podcast.
Awesome. All right, now I can clip that and put it.
Nice. Excellent. Strong.
Everyone, this is how movie magic works. This is the editing process. This is what your favorite YouTubers do.
Well, you just guess and hope, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
That sounds kind of right. Just whack it in here if it works.
I'll put a bunch of red arrows in the thumbnail.
Yeah. Saturate it a little bit. OMG.
I'll do like one of those talks about dog farting. You. What?
Yeah, so OMG, law person talks about dog farting.
Literally.
There's just an arrow pointing to a dog or something.
This is so true. I cannot wait for Twitter to tear me apart. I guess the only other question I have is like, so like, let's say Dead by Daylight dies, because apparently it's dying. Apparently.
Oh, true. It's been dying for like 5 years now.
I mean, yeah, but like we're losing people exponentially now. Apparently, like we've lost like I think it was like 3,000 average players like per day or something stupid like that. It was a lot. Like the graph is going.
Okay. First of all, I will bully whoever made that graph because it's badly misrepresenting the current state of the game. Badly.
Really?
Yeah, because if you weren't aware, Resident Evil was the highest player count DBD's had ever by a colossal margin.
Yeah.
An absolutely huge margin. So even though player count is dropping, admittedly, yes, it is. Compare this to even a year ago. It's still going. It's still higher than it was. Resident Evil just spiked it really, really, really high in a way that, yeah, it's going to drop afterwards. Of course, it fucking is. Like, who should be surprised that Resident Evil caused a drop, and now it's going down a bit. Now Resident Evil isn't happening anymore.
Bro, that's a base take. That? Make a video about that. Make like a 5-minute Scott Jun video where you just say that, and then
just break down actual statistical analysis. Like, no, screw you. You're getting your stats wrong.
Make the thumbnail of the video just your stats are wrong. Ratio.
So shut up.
Hope sieve.
Yeah, L plus ratio because check your fucking graph.
Literally. I don't check graphs. That's I go to an art school, not a science school.
I like graphs. I don't know why. I just did.
Graphs are scary.
They got a pretty line go, bro.
They graphs scare me. My point though was Dead by Daylight may or may not be dying, but let's say it did collapse under the weight of we're doing a good job so far. Where would you go with your channel? Like, what would you want to do with this? I'd probably just
move on talking about horror media in general. That's actually why I made videos like my Swuh analysis videos that I was doing independently of my DVD stuff, just to test the waters for that and see if there was an appetite for it. And to some degree there is. Where I'd kind of just become, I hate to say that Ryan Hollinger 2.0, if that makes sense. I don't know if you're familiar with Ryan Hollinger's work. He's an Irish creator, very talented guy who makes weekly horror movie reviews. And he's so good at what he does. And here's one of the reasons I wanted to make the channel that I did and make it the way that I did. So I probably could do that, although I'll be totally honest, if there was another game that would snare me in the way DBD has, when Overwatch 2 comes out.
No, period. It will never come out, but like, period.
No, if the hypothetical reality that Overwatch 2 comes out, and it's actually good, and it does what it says it does, which is expanding the story and looking at the characters, because the original Overwatch had like no meaningful story. Give it some direction. I liked Overwatch. Like had lots of fun characters. Did nothing with them.
Yeah.
If it does something with the brilliant cast it has, if it does something with that, that's actually catch my interest and probably something I'll talk about a very long time if people will let me do it.
Yeah, fun fact.
The DVD died, that's probably where I would go.
Yeah, I did a coin flip actually for my channel. I had a coin and I was like, all right, if it's heads, I'll do DBD content. If it's tails, I'll do Overwatch content. And now we're here. So
yeah, because I was originally planning on making the channel actually like a Gaming Wars variety channel, talk about stories of all the different games. So I covered League of Legends more than once.
League of Legends.
League was the game. League was the game that got me into stories and live service games. Like, admittedly, the game was fucking dog shit, but it did get me interested in character construction and story writing in live service games, and for that I have a lot of respect for it.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's why I think Arcane was so good. But then I went, no, I just love DBD so much I'm not been talking about it.
This is
and then I got to talk about the movies and the films associated with it, and that just spiraled into what we have now.
Yeah. Why anyone would choose to like Dead by Daylight, I have no idea. Mental
Funny Pen Man.
What?
Funny Pen Man.
No.
You opened the box and I came. Yes.
I don't like Pinhead. Nothing about him is compelling. Which is weird because I'm so fucking horny. You think I would like, no, not the box.
This is actually my second box.
You have 2 boxes?
I have two.
Did he come twice?
No. The second comings are kind of the wrong religion. But where's my other? I can't find my other box. Fuck. I've lost my other box. No, this one's for the DVDs.
Okay. Well,
I posted it on Twitter actually. I open it up and it's full of Hellraiser DVDs.
Cool.
Is
the Hellraiser series any good? I mean, I watched the first movie, but I was just like...
The first couple are, and then they drop like a stone.
Oh, yikes.
Because, fun fact, they actually only made Hellraiser movies after like the third one, so they could keep the rights. That was literally it. They went, right, we need to make sure Clive Barker doesn't get the rights, so we'll just fucking keep making these garbage movies. Put Doug Bradley in because they'll take our paychecks, and just hope we make enough just for keeping the license. And they eventually couldn't because they started making them terrible. So that Clive Barker won the rights back. So it didn't surprise me when this got into NFTs because they're already a money-grubbing bastard conclave of a studio.
When can we get the Pixelbush NFTs? When are those coming?
Over my dead body.
All right, guys, we gotta kill Will. We gotta assassinate. To get these
You're gonna kill me to turn me into an NFT.
Please,
No,
honestly.
Solomon, don't turn me into a non-fungible token.
ORXL NFTs will not have it either. We don't have merch yet.
Based.
I don't have any way to conclude this. I had a really nice concluding question, and then I lost it. Will, quickly promote the ORXL. Go.
I'm in it.
Valid. It's all we need. Yep. We've starstruck everyone.
No. Genuinely, all jokes aside, I've never seen something quite like this from the DVD community before. Like, it is truly a project unlike any other this community has seen, and it makes me really happy to be a part of it, because this game is so much more than many of its creators and many of its fans give credit for. And Solomon is one of the people who shares my vision for that.
Yeah,
and it makes me very, very happy to see something like this crop up and to gain popularity and to be a success. I can't wait for that.
I hope it does. Me and the team have a lot of stuff planned. Hopefully you'll come back for some of it. That'd be pretty cool.
I would like that a lot.
Actually, I know for a fact you will for season 2 if that happens. Any words of advice for people? Any like hopeful messages in these trying COVID times that have not gone away? Actually, wait, question. Has COVID gone away in the UK? Is that a thing, or is it still
It's
there?
still around, but it's kind of doing the US approach, which apparently doesn't exist.
Okay, fair enough.
The Prime Minister is looking to lift all restrictions by the end of the month, which is ballsy, to say the least. But basically just to distract from the fact that he got caught hosting dinner parties during lockdown in number 10 Downing Street.
He was one of those girls. Okay.
Yeah, he was, yeah. It was really bad, and he's in a massive scandal because of it. But, yeah, COVID it's still a thing. Omicron is obviously still like a very prevalent problem. Yeah. But people are just getting so tired of it by now that the restrictions are becoming more like guidelines, and it's quite worrying, honestly.
Yeah, I think in the US, it's just depending on where you are. I know where I am currently, it's still like most people are wearing masks and staying safe, but in my home state, anyway, that's been over for like 2 years now. This wasn't supposed to be a COVID tangent. I was just gonna say, in these trying times, with Dead by Daylight or loving your life passions or being Arrow-Ace, whatever you want to say, what would you like to say as a word of advice to people, or like motivation, something positive to end the video on?
I'll try.
I know it's hard for you Brits to be positive, but
yeah, true. Okay. If you want to create something, there's never a better time to do it than right now. Never. And that is regardless of your situation, because at the end of the day, you'll never have a reason to make something new if you haven't gotten started yet. Like, I wouldn't have been able to make the videos that I do now that are popular and that I'm proud of making if I hadn't started when I did. If I hadn't started, right, I want to talk about this, and just started to do it. And odds are, if you want to talk about something, odds are someone else does too. And as long as you can reach that audience and persist, you will make something out of it. You just will, whether it will be a new career or just a hobby or just even a little group of friends. It doesn't really matter as long as you feel like you're not alone. And that's what carried me, honestly, that's 5 months, knowing I wasn't alone. And I haven't really felt lonely since I really got going, which is impressive because I was very lonely for a long time. But it's the ability to create your own little community, and I am incredibly proud of that and incredibly thankful for that. The best thing you can do to do that is just make something quickly. Make something that talk something that you love, and other people will love it too. That someone will somewhere. That will just happen. You're not the only person in the world who loves what you do.
Cool. I want to like super echo that actually. I go to an art school around here, and a lot of artists I've met like have all these ideas of what they want to do, but they don't actually like implement them and like go for it and go do it. So Will's doing it. I'm doing it. You should go do the thing you want to do, make it happen, turn it into something tangible and real and there. And I promise you it'll be really fulfilling no matter how much success it has. So yeah, thank you, Will. This has been a very enlightening conversation. I've learned so much about you, myself, this imaginary place we call the UK.
What you didn't know is that this is all a cardboard set in Seattle.
Oh, really? You're a really good actor then. That accent.
Thank
just,
That's
cool. All right. I think I'm going to end it. Please watch episode 8.5 of the ORXL podcast. Wilson,
do that.
Also, watch the rest of it. It's good. The review's been really good. All right, cool. Enough self-promotion. Thank you, Will. I'm going to stop recording now.
Sounds good.